Good morning, folks. We have got an absolute scorcher out here today. It's already 80 degrees and it's only 9 in the morning. We're out here scanning some points, looking for some offshore fish. You can see here on the graph, I've been idling some of these points, and the little yellow dots are new pieces of brush and things of interest. And I'm just doing a grid point. You know, I'm just doing a gridding this point, going back and forth. And you can see out here, we've got a thermocline in like 17-ish. See it running right along here, and see it on the side scan. So what we're doing is we're looking for cover that is in that, you know, around that 15-foot zone, 15 to 17, maybe 20. This is a lake I don't get on very often. I'm very unfamiliar with it. Maybe fish it once a year. And I started out the morning fishing shallow. There could be some fish in this. This is right. Got him. Just get him out of the grass. Take that thing. One pincher on even. Yeah. I mean, I'm superstitious. I always want to have both pinchers on my crawl, but to be honest, a bluegill bit the pincher off, and I just put that crawl in there. Decent fish. It was long. And there's only one crawl on that. So I don't know. And there's a lot of crawfish in the wild that have one crawl, and if a fish was really sitting there thinking, he's like, well, one crawl is better than two, less chance of getting injury. So I don't know, man. We throw a Ned rig and stuff, or Ned rig or a Cinco, and it's got zero action. But we're definitely superstitious about having both crawls, and I'm gonna put another crawl in here eventually because it'll start messing with me. There we go. Oh, nose plant. That hurt. It wasn't really going on up there, and we're gonna do that a little bit more before the sun gets really high. But as for right now, we're just, I'm kind of being disciplined, and we're marking a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna come back and look at. I haven't really seen anything that looks good, like it's got a bunch of fish. I mean, I'm seeing crappie and some bait fish, but just on the side scan and down scan, I haven't really seen anything that pops. I haven't seen the little, you know, the little pills out there. Our water temp's 86 degrees, and it's supposed to get up in the mid 90s with some humidity, and we do have a breeze, thank the Lord. So that's going to keep it tolerable, but we're going to poke around out here. Like I said, I'm still going to try some shallow stuff, but here in a minute I'm going to retie a bunch of baits, and we're going to focus out deep and let the cards fall where they may. So give me a thumbs up if you've been appreciating the content. Subscribe, we greatly appreciate it. Let's go. Sucker hit twice. It's one of those spots we marked earlier. Up in here. Right. Right. A little offshore. Just out in about 12 or 14 feet of water. Still throwing that Texas rig Yama crawl, and this is a spot we coming into this little cut. We marked a little rough patch out there, and we're kind of going back and revisiting some of the things that we marked earlier, and it paid off. I'm pretty sure that fish hit twice, or there's another one out there, so we're gonna get it out there as fast as possible. It's something that's real important when you're fishing off the bank. You get a little school fired up. If there is a school out there, you want to get back out there ASAP. Thank God for this wind. We slid around this point, and we're fishing this kind of rocky, bluffy stuff. We've been kind of alternating between some shallow stuff, covering water. I mean, I've been throwing this little spitting image, which is a really cool little topwater bait. I did throw a swim jig a little bit, did flipping a crawl, and we've thrown a chatterbait a little bit as well. Right now, we just got a, excuse me, got a 3/8 ounce jig in our hand, and we're working some of this deeper rock, just trying to stay in the wind because it feels so good. It's so hot out here. Just kind of mixing it up, and we're actually sliding out and checking some of this brush, kind of back and forth, just trying to figure out, you know, what we need to focus on. Freaking had it. Good fish. Get up in here, Buster. Right. Paid off, man. Paid off. That little Cumberland Pro Caster jig. It's a 3/8 ounce. And it's called Naked Crawl. It's a little 3.5 inch Yama Crawl chunk. Decent fish. It's weird, man. I was on the other side of this little point. It's kind of slick over there. It looks good, but no bites. I came around this corner. The wind's blowing. I've already had like 3 bites right here. So it's a good sign. Good sign. Decent fish. That fish was in about 12 feet of water. That thermocline is set up in like 17, so that kind of makes sense. Just there's a lay down right out here. He was kind of off the end of that lay down, not necessarily on it, but just kind of hanging around it. On the map here, like this is really shallow. I mean, really shallow. This lake's down. And as soon as we came around the corner, we got in the wind right here, and this starts to get a little bit deeper. Let's see. You can see how this is getting deeper right here. And that's where we caught that fish at. Right along here, it's kind of bluffy. It's not deep, but it just got real flat here. It's starting to get deeper right here, and just right in this little point, the wind's blowing on it. There's gonna be any fish up there. You never know, though. What are you doing? Okay, we got something going here now. There he is. They're just on us. Oh, I got off. Folks, I think we just figured something out. You know, I've been flipping, throwing a swim bait, swim jig, all that stuff. And I pulled in this little pocket and I picked up a chatterbait. And I mean, within like 3 casts I had a bite. And about another 20 casts later, I've already had 2 fish that I tried to swing and came off. Both decent fish, you know, 15, 16 inch fish. And then had a couple other bites on that chatterbait, and just the wind blowing back in this pocket. There's a little bit of stain. So, man, it seems like that's what I need to be doing right now. I believe there's some bluegill beds, and I think, you know, even though I want them to be out deep, I've scanned a bunch of brush and I've checked some brush, and they're just not out there, at least in the piles that I've looked at. So I think the bluegill have been spawning. I think the bluegill has got a lot of these bass still up shallow, even though the water's fairly clear. They're up here tight to the bank. I'm thinking, so I'm gonna put on crankbait and keep throwing that chatterbait and cover a little bit of water and see if we can make something happen, because it's been pretty slow out here. There it is. Caught as one in the shade. Giant. Bite. Got him at the time. Well, can't get a damn hook in him. This ain't working. Uh-oh. There he is. This ain't working. There we go. There's a good fish. There we go. Man, it is slow. It is slow. I switched up from that 3/8 ounce. It's a good fish. To the 1/2 ounce in a black and blue. Color change, weight change. Just trying to cover a little bit more water faster. They're definitely relating to the standing timber back here in this creek. And just got to cover a lot of them because there's hundreds and hundreds of pieces of standing timber, and I haven't figured out exactly what makes one different, although I know the bigger ones have been the ones that I've been getting a bite on. So we're gonna do this a little more, man. We're switching it up. The chatterbait bite kind of went away. I guess it was just in that one little pocket, and you just got to be versatile, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stay ahead of the game. Another bite. Ah, there he is. I see him down there. It was about a 2-pounder. Had me on the other side of that limb. Well, I think we're gonna put another black and blue jig on. Okay, we're always gonna trim this jig skirt up. I want to get it around the hook bend, the bend of the hook. It's kind of what I like. So I just kind of randomly chop. Got my little Cuda scissors. Suckers are sharp. They're great on regular line, braid, jig skirts, whatever, and they're super handy. So I'm gonna go a little bit shorter than that. And you've heard me talk about this before, but I like to just kind of chop away at it. It keeps it more buggy instead of just grabbing all the skirt material and going one big slice. Yeah, it's got more of a buggy look to it. I think that looks more natural. All right, we're just gonna grab this Yama crawl. This is like, I think it's green pumpkin purple, something like that. They got some unique colors, but a lot of times I like to mix and match my trailer to my skirt color. So black and blue jig with a green pumpkin purple trailer. Slide that sucker up. We're going to leave it full length, a little bit lighter jig. I would definitely cut some of this off because this is a fatter crawl. It's a little bit bigger than a Zoom speed crawl, but it's got a little more action. This 1/2 ounce jig still glides quite a bit. There you go. So we're going to tie this on and get back to work. It's a great head design too for coming through rocks. Oh, what the heck? Catfish. Well, find some bites. Look how pretty this fish is, guys. That is a beautiful flathead. Midday report, folks. I finally figured out why we're able to get a bite on this jig. I mean, look here on the front looker. This is all bait around this standing timber. I mean, you can see some fish wandering around, fish, but look at all this bait. Just bait everywhere. Every one of these pieces of standing timber has bait on it. And the other thing that's contributing to flipping bite on the standing timber is this lake in the past has had a lot of grass, but it's pulled down and there's hardly any grass in the lake. I mean, there's a little bit of like kind of dead grass you catch every once in a while, but it was one of those places where there were grass out in like 10 or 12 feet and it's not here. So the fish are using rock and they're using the standing timber for cover more so than I ever remember. So that's why we're able to just kind of flip all these laydowns or these pieces of standing timber and get bit. I'm trying to put a pattern together. What I figured out is mainly the bigger pieces of wood, and they're wanting to be in like 5 to 15 feet of water, which makes sense because there's a thermocline around that 14-foot zone back here in this creek, and so we're targeting the bigger trees, a little bit steeper bank, and that water depth, and that's how we're able to pick up a few bites on the old black and blue jig. Man, I love jig fishing. I didn't come over here thinking that was going to happen, but we exhausted everything else and started getting some bites on that. So hey, don't argue with success. Oh, I caught one over here. There you go. Decent fish. I switched sides over here because I don't know, I just thought I'd try this side, and so far it hasn't been productive, but I did catch one. I've had one other bite. You can see, look at these trees. There's bait all around it. See, this is all bait. That's why we're getting these bites. Jig's falling right down. There's some fish right there, but they're sitting at the base of those trees, eating that little bait. It looks like fry almost. How y'all doing? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 bigger trees right here. Maybe, I don't know. The fish just came up with that tree. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for these bigger trees. These trees that are just a little bit bigger. Like this one's too small. I mean, I might get a bite off of that, but that one's a little twig. That one's decent. But you can see 1, 2, 3 right out there, and then there's a bigger one down there. Those are the ones I'm keying in on. And I'm flipping, flipping this thing past it slightly, and I want that jig to fall vertically, because they're either sitting on the side of this timber and they're grabbing it on the way down, or they're right in the root wad at the base of that timber. That's where 90% of my bites have come from, just right at the base or as it's falling. There he is. Dang it! Well, I keep missing fish. Shouldn't horse him. That was a good fish. Got him. Black and blue's the deal, folks. Settle down, Buster. Jesus. I know the carpet's hot. Hot potato. Got him. Hey, if you die, it ain't my fault. You rubbed all your slime coat off. Here we go. Getting some bites on the jig. Oh, that's a big fish. He's on there. Jeez. Man, that sucks. Feels big, but oh yeah, I see him. I can't tell how he's caught though. Heck, I don't know, man. It's a good fish. See him right here. It's hard to see. I saw him moving a while ago. Let's just give him total slack, see what happens. Still on there. Man, I hate to lose this fish. I want to at least see what it is. We got him. We got him. Look at that. I told you it was a 10-pounder. How about that? Man, if that thing would have broke me off, it would have been every bit of 7 or 8 pounds. That was a lot of work. That fish is wore out. You're a fighter, bro. You are a fighter. Much love, man. Much love. That's a better fish. Get up in here. Ha ha! We caught us a good one, man. All right, it's gonna wrap it up. Thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not. Man, we really mixed it up today. Started out flipping a little crawl, caught some fish doing that, and then a jig. We had a swim jig bite going for a little bit. And then a chatterbait. I really thought that chatterbait thing was gonna pan out. I pulled in that one cove and I had several bites. I mean, they jumped off. You know, I was trying to swing them, was being a little bit too aggressive with them, but it kind of clued me in. I ran that pattern a little bit, and that was it. They were just in that pocket, and that was it. And then we bounced around and duplicated it a little bit, but the wind and the chatterbait got me thinking, you know, let's just follow the wind. Let's follow the wind, pull back in this creek, and we got standing timber everywhere. The wind's blowing. It's pretty dangerous. I got spotlight. I just hope that I don't hit anything. But I started getting bites on a lighter jig, a 3/8 ounce jig. It was a naked crawl, I believe, with a little green pumpkin yama crawl on the back. And I was like, I'm thinking, I want to cover water a little bit quicker. But to me, it's always, is it a color thing or is it a fall rate thing? So I went different color, different weight jig. So I went from a 3/8 ounce, more green pumpkinish, to a 1/2 ounce Procaster black and blue. And this was definitely the deal. They really wanted the black and blue, but I still put a green pumpkin crawl on there. I mean, it really just screams bluegill, and I think that's what they're feeding on. I was getting a bunch of bluegill bites, but flipping right up next to that standing timber and letting it fall down and just kind of popping it a little bit, and they would either take off with it or they would slam it. And that's kind of what got me curious about the fall rate. Several times I'd flip up there, and about halfway down my line would just kind of take off. So I didn't know if this 1/2 ounce would be overpowering. I mean, I left the full chunk on there, so it slowed it up. So apparently it worked, because we did get some pretty good bites here right at the end. So that's all I got for you. Until next time.